So good morning. It's Thursday again. No rain, if I can say that correctly, and I hope it keeps that way this weekend. We're going away this weekend, taking a trip up to our Kuni area with a group, and yep, let's hope for no rain. But this morning we're talking to Vanita. Good morning, Vanita. How are you?
Good morning, Jan. Good morning, everybody. I'm good. I'm good. I can't believe it's the end of January, and it just feels like the years, like it was just like New Year's the other day.
It actually
Yeah,
feels to me like New Year's was about 6 months ago.
I know. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations on your citizenship, by the way. Sorry, your passports.
the
That's what I
passports,
mean.
yeah, and the citizenship,
Yes,
everything that basically
yes.
all came in one. Hey,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Thanks
Yeah.
for that. That was another tick box for us.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Being on
I
the
think
forefront of immigration yourself, how has things changed?
Yeah, I think the reason why this I said to you, hey, do you want to talk about things, is because it sparked the conversation when you said, oh, we've got this 18-year-old on this visitor visa,
Mm,
that's the length of their parents' visa. Are they covered for medical? If you remember, are they covered for the
yeah,
public medical health system? And I checked and I said, no, they're not. And that's what
mm,
sparked this thing to sort of say, let's come on and just sort of update people. So,
right.
Jan, did you sort of find out a little bit more? Because I looked at the Ministry of Health, and it does say that anybody obviously 17 over are
Mm.
not covered by the health system. Have you gone through and sort of investigated that a bit more?
I looked at that as well, and I looked at the fact that they say anybody with a 2 year and longer visa is eligible again.
That's right. Oh, so you're saying they're contradicting, saying that somebody who's got
That's my
a
thoughts here.
24 months and over, because the way
Mm,
I read it was that if you have a child, say 18 or 19, and they've got a 3-year visitor visa, as long as their parents, they were not eligible for the public health system
mm.
because they're on visitor visa. That's the way I read it. Full stop. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
one of the
No,
things,
no,
and maybe you can.
that's just it's a bit contradicting, and the one problem is we're sitting with a massive problem. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people, not only South Africans, but a lot of immigrants
Yes.
coming over whose kids are not covered anyway.
That's right, yeah, and especially those ones on the critical purpose
Mm,
visitor visas that have come through, because there's been changes around that towards the end of last year, where
yeah.
they've said if you're on a critical purpose visitor visa, there's certain occupations that are excluded,
Mm,
but they can move to a specific purpose work visa that gives them 3 years on that.
that's right.
So that's what they've said. And then just yesterday, immigration announced that those partners on those critical purpose visitor visas who have a 2021 residence lodge, these three criteria, they
Mm,
can now have open work rights to be able to go and find jobs and so on. So that was
okay.
just the latest announcement
Mm,
yesterday.
mm.
Yeah.
The one problem I'm facing with this 18-year-old kids, um, in the past we could get them some health cover, but the problem was that company was hacked, and we can't get them any
Oh,
health cover for up until about, let's say, about the end of Feb. That's what they're now saying.
right. Oh,
So
okay.
we're
Okay.
sitting with people who can't get government help, but they can't get private help as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I don't know. Hopefully, it'll be resolved by the end of February, and then those kids can at least go on some sort of cover,
Oh yeah,
because
geez.
usually I think with the 18-year-olds, it's more the concern about. I think it's about the wisdom teeth and stuff, which can cost a
Mm.
lot of money. I think
Oh yeah.
that's where they for just from memory, that's where they would need the health cover. I think.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting remark coming up based on what we said. As long as visa is 2 years and longer, they're eligible. I know as I'm in the health sector. Now,
Right.
I'm
That's the
not
thing,
saying
though.
this person is wrong, but we had a practical thing where the father went back to the hospital in Tauranga, spoke to the people there. They wouldn't accept his kids.
Yeah.
He went to the doctors. They wouldn't accept the kids. So even if
It's
it's
not.
in, it's not accepted.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, that's the thing. I've always found there's always been a discrepancy. Some places will, after arguing and showing them the visa labels and
yeah,
all sorts of things, they would accept it, and some will just go no. So there's always been that grey area, and we know that anybody who's got a visa longer than 24 months is eligible for public health care. So
Yeah.
there's always been that area where some say yes, some say no, and then that's when these kids are declined for the public health system and so on. The parents have to pay full price for them.
And the
That's where the
doctors who
issue
were in the
is.
hospital, they straight went back and said, visitors visa. They didn't worry about the period of time. They said straight
Yeah.
visitors visa, no.
Yeah,
So,
so that's where the issue is. So so I think a bit more investigation needs to be done around that to see whether they are covered or whether they're not, and do they need a private health insurance in that regard. Yeah.
the problem is
So
if you ask two different medical people the same question, they give you two different answers.
two different answers because it's unclear on the Ministry of Health system. That's the reason why. And there is an email, I just checked this morning, there's an email where you can check your eligibility for the public health care. So I think what would be good is if people are unsure, they can actually email them, probably provide the details of their visa label and ask them, am I eligible or not? And then you get the email back, and then you can go to your GP or whoever and say, actually, I am eligible, if that says that. Yeah. So that would be actually a good sort of resolution on that one.
Exercise.
Yes. But coming back to things, so we had our first draw under the skilled migrant category points tested system on the 18th of January.
Okay.
And that was on 180 points. So those people meeting that criteria have gone through. But just remember, the median wage is still the 27.76 per hour.
Okay.
And that's what you need to meet. But on the 24th of February, it's changing to 29.66 per hour, which is about, so the way it affects people in various ways, okay? So if you want to claim or you need bonus points and high remuneration, then you are going to have to earn, come February, it's not like 115,481.60. It's going to be 123,385.60 per hour.
Okay.
Sorry, not per hour, per year.
Yeah.
A year. Okay. So the jump is from 55.52 per hour to 59.32 per hour.
All right. So about just over $4 more.
Yes. But just remember, it's 200% of median wage, and then that jump increases quite substantially. Now, if you are planning to lodge residence and your ANSCO codes fall under the unskilled of level 4 or 5, you need to meet 1.5 of median wage. Okay. So 1.5 of median wage. So that is going to move from 86,611 to 92,539. So that's about a 6,000 increase. Yeah. So those people under the skill level 4 and 5 will not be able to lodge unless they meet 1.5 of median wage. Yeah.
Well, I think with the current shortage of workers, although that's $6,000 a lot of money for any company, they probably will get it if they ask.
Probably because yes, and it depends if the employers want to support you or not. If they are not willing to go up, it is a big jump, especially if you're an employer. It's a big jump on your profit margin and so on.
That's right.
It all depends. What we have noticed, and I think people are slowly noticing, is that immigration are sort of issuing visas absolutely for 3 years, meeting the median wage. That's not a problem. People are realizing that they may not be eligible for residence under the points tested system. And because they're not earning 200% of median wage, they can't even meet that 2 years down the line. And that's becoming a reality for a lot of them. So that's where the concerns are for people right now. And that's where you really need to make sure you have a clear pathway on how you're going to go and what your route is going to be on that. Yeah. So there's been so yesterday was the change about the partners on the 2021 residence visas. There's also been an announcement about the way immigration's prioritizing residence visa applications and processing. So the priority is still people earning 200% of median wage, and occupational registration, especially
Okay.
those in the medical sector. But then you also have people like the electricians and so on that can get prioritized, as well as the teachers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things that just got to earn enough.
No, because they hold occupation, so it's one or the other. So it's 200% of median wage or occupational registration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So that's where they fall under.
is there an influx of nurses and doctors coming into the country?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats to know. And the thing is, there are other countries that are offering probably higher salaries now.
Yeah,
So while because the big thing was that they couldn't even go straight to residence, right? So now, while they can probably go straight to residence, there's other countries like Australia, Canada, and so on that are offering higher salaries, and you kind of have to weigh it up to go, where do I want to go? And it also comes down to age as well, because there's obviously a cutoff with age in those countries versus New Zealand, where the cutoff is still 55. Australia is 45. So yeah.
Just a question from my side on the Australian. I know you do Australian visas as well.
Yeah.
How long is that application process?
Which visa are you talking about?
I don't know. I just heard that somebody said the other day that they were wanting to apply to go to Australia, but the visa process was taking 7 months or something like that.
They are all very long. So work visas sometimes. So with Australia, like say if you're looking at work visas, you have to start at the beginning. You have to have an English test. You have to have a positive skills assessment. Once you have that, then only can you apply for a work visa, and that could be either sponsored by an employer, or you can go the independent route. So it all depends. And then there's sponsors and there's regional sponsors and various things. So that process does take a while, because you're looking at your skills assessment being done, and that could take depending which body you're going through, that could take 3 to 4 months and so on. Then the visa process itself can take 7 months and so on. So those times add up. So if you look at New Zealand, we don't have those things. So while we be complaining about it taking 6 to 8 weeks to process a visa, that's nothing compared to what Australia has. So in the grand scheme of things, we're much faster in processing.
Oh, definitely, even though we feel it's longer.
We feel and we get frustrated. It's because New Zealand set a precedence where we've always done things a lot faster than other places. We sort of still riding on it, but the thing is, our processing times are changing. A typical example is with residents, and even with the 2021 immigration are saying it's going to take. They aim to complete everything by June of this year. That will be 18 months since the 2021 residents opened. But they're also mentioning it's going to take 18 months from the date of lodgement.
Okay.
So if you lodged in March, or phase 2 in March, it's going to maybe possibly take 18 months from there. And you know what? That's in line with everyone else overseas as well. So it's nothing. We just got to accept that's how long it's going to take now. Yeah,
it's one of these things we don't like the change, but it has happened.
It has happened, and that's the thing. Like even with the skilled migrant category opening as well, Jan, immigration haven't set the processing times for that. So we in the industry are suspecting it's going to take about 12 to 18 months at the minimum. And so don't be surprised, because if you look at the new category that will come into play in probably around July of this year, the 6 points or test system, it's going to take between 2 to 3 years for anybody to get residence anyway under those categories. So that's what we're going to accept, is that's how long it's going to take.
Yeah. So nothing is fast-tracked, really.
Only the straight to residence, the green list is fast tracked. The tier 1, that's all. Nothing else is going to be fast tracked. Yeah. And that's taking about 6 weeks, by the way, to get residence. If you're on the green list tier 1, about 6 weeks.
Okay. I always tell people to make 100% sure before they even think about coming to New Zealand if they've got a pathway to residence.
Absolutely.
Because it's useless just to come and have a work visa and then have to go back.
Yeah. And I think some people are realizing damn, I don't meet the pay, I don't meet the points, and the 180 is favoring a certain cohort of people, I should say.
That's right.
Yeah, so currently the 180 points is favoring a certain cohort of people, especially those with qualifications, recognized qualifications.
Yeah. There was a rumor going around that from the future, or I don't know, as I'm saying, it is a rumor that they will only take in graduated people. How far are we?
With the 6 points test, or the way the 6 point system is going to look like, yes. Yes, I would say so. And then those with occupational registration. So if for instance, you have a plumber and he can get occupational registration, or you have an electrician who can get occupational registration, then yes, it's favoring those, because those guys have qualifications below degree level.
All right. Now, then we sit with the problem for guys like diesel mechanics, those type of people. They don't have a registration.
That's right. They don't have registration. They have qualifications below level 7 degree level. So in that regard, when you look at the way the green list is currently, they're on the tier 2 part of the green list, which is working for 2 years, that residence to work category. So they have that pathway. So they just got to wait 2 years.
Questions regarding, is the 180 points across New Zealand?
Yes. Yes,
so it's not only Auckland or not only anywhere else?
No, it's across New Zealand. It's a one system, okay? It's not favoring anybody else, and it should disappear by maybe June of this year. So if those people who are meeting those points or coming in and are meeting those points and they want to lodge, then they should probably do that now rather than later.
All right. Yeah, but what else changed in the
So look, I mean, we've only had 2 changes, and that's the way immigration have characterized the residence applications and the priority of those. And the priority is your occupational registration, your 200%, and split families right now. And that's across all the categories. And that's for processing residence. I know there's a lot of frustration with those people who've got 2021 residents and they are stuck in certain stages of the processing. Now, from experience, I can tell you that the ADIPT system has an issue, and it hasn't been announced, and I'll make a disclaimer, it hasn't been announced by immigration, but from experience from my applications, what's happened is, if you have an applicant, even on a temporary work visa, or on a residence work visa. And there's, for instance, like they have, you know how we had medical conditions where you are given your visa, but it's condition, it's like ASH, which is acceptable standards of health with conditions for that visa. What's happening in the ADIPT system is that is passed by the medical assessor, but the health record is open. And because the health record is open, it can't move to the next phase in the ADIPT system. So
this will be for overweight people and those type of things.
It could be a multitude of people.
Okay.
It could be anything.
Somebody having a health issue.
A health issue that immigration say that they want a test done on your next visa. Okay. So the system in ADIPT is currently going, we don't know how to deal with this open record because it's been passed by the health assessor. It needs to move to the next phase, but the system's not moving to the next phase. So you may see applications probably stuck in waiting medicals or something like that. And the immigration are working away on how they're going to be dealing with these. So that's where those things are going to be stuck. And you may see that my application is not progressing, but that may not be true. They're just working on a fix for that. Yeah. So that's from my experience is what I've noticed. Yeah.
So I was actually I didn't want to actually go there this morning, but the good news was that Jacinda, I believe she's got booted. So,
Look, I know, and we don't want to discuss politics. Do you know what I
No, we're
mean?
not going to discuss politics this morning, so
Yeah, but I suppose people are probably wondering, will if a new government comes in, will all this change, and will it be made easier?
yeah. So
Not
that's the next
necessarily.
question, actually.
Yeah, and it's, I would say not necessarily.
Mm,
Look, if a new government comes in, they may be more proactive than what
yeah.
the current government has been, rather than reactive, like the way we've seen,
Oh, yeah. Right.
especially with the medical people
Mm.
that we desperately needed to come in, and the split families. That was a big issue last year.
Oh my
And I
goodness,
suppose
terrible.
with the pressure put on the opposing parties, did
Yeah.
Labour move on those policies. Okay, so we may not see a huge overall overhaul of immigration policies or
Yeah.
anything. What we may see is a more proactive government where they would say, for instance, like last year was announced, we need bus drivers and we need truck drivers, okay? And there was a sector agreement for that. Now, what we are waiting for is the residence pathway, because through those sector agreements, we're going to have specialized residence pathways only for those cohort of people. And that's
That's right.
probably what the new, if we get a new government, is what they're going to do, is they're going to say, okay, this lot of people we desperately need, we need them now. There's no pathway for them, and they're seen as unskilled, or they're never going to meet the 200% of median wage. They're never
That's
going to
right.
meet the occupational registration. What can we do to fill in those people and secure them long term? And
That's
that's where
right.
we're going to see sector agreements.
Mm.
Now,
The
yeah,
question in my mind is, if we say, let's say, introduce something like that for somebody like a bus driver,
yes,
once they've reached residence, is there any way that they can force them to stay as a bus driver? Because currently they can just up and leave, or they can go and work
exactly.
somewhere else.
Yeah. And it's possible, look, and the sector agreements were announced when Labour was in, okay? So it's not nothing new. It's
That's
just
right.
that when they've done this tier one green list and these bits and pieces, they haven't announced the sector agreements. Because just remember, they were going to have sector agreements in the meat and processing industry and the
Yeah.
manufacturing industry and so on. Okay, so these policies are nothing new. Jan, I think what they would do with these sector agreements is actually say there'll be a pathway, and there'll be like a 2-year or 3-year pathway to residence. So
Okay.
what's going to happen is those people are going to come in and they will have to work in those
Mm,
professions for 2 to 3 years.
mm.
So again, it's going to be nothing new to what is currently there. It's just going to be certain occupations that will usually have no pathway to be able
Yeah.
to secure them and secure that labor for that long.
And that'll only be for a period of time until the I can say the shortages have been filled, and then they'll take that away.
Exactly. And then they'll probably remove that. So those people that were eligible and met the criteria and came in, they'll still
Yeah.
be eligible, and then they'll be removed. So I think that's what they're going to do. And this, again, has been there, or there've been talks before the borders even closed, because we were expecting all of this to happen. In 2019 was when all this work had gone through. So
Mm.
don't think there's going to be a massive overhaul of policies and it's going to be easier. It's just going to be a more proactive government doing
Yeah.
these things. Yeah,
That's right. I do understand where they come from and what some of the holds is, but I do not understand the hold ups. That's always a massive thing. Yeah.
exactly. I think, go into a new system, all those things doesn't help anybody at all. There's going to
That's
be a lot of teething problems, but 2 years down the line, we're going to go, oh, okay, everything works great now. You know what I mean? So yeah,
question on the other channel. I can't put it up on the screen. It's ask.
sure.
It comes from Brett de Villiers asking, are there any changes to the grandparent visas or residency? Probably for the grandparents then.
Yes, we opened up that category. The parent category has been open, and
Mm.
just remember I think it's going to be only the quota is only 1,000 parents at a time.
Yeah.
They did change. They did change the remuneration and so on. So they've brought that down, not the ridiculous amounts that they sort of spoke about. But the thing is that the quota or the cap is 1,000 a year is what the cap
That's right.
is. So the next draw is going to happen, I think, in May, and we don't have the stats to know how many are still sitting in the pool and when do you start lodging again and so on. We don't have that. Yeah.
There's a question regarding a specific uh, occupation asking, a qualified welder fabricator, will that have a
Yeah.
pathway to residence?
Right now they do, because those qualifications from South Africa are recognized if they are assessed, right?
That's right.
So fingers crossed that your age and so on work out to 180 points. So yes, they do have a pathway right now. I know that if we stick to that, if we stick to the 6-point system the way it is, then possibly not, because their qualification is below degree level and they don't earn and if they would need to earn 1.5 of median wage to be able to have a pathway.
That's right.
So there's 3 different parts in that 6 points category.
I still remember when I did my residence, I got extra points for staying out of Auckland. Is that still so?
It's still the same until we revamp SMC, which will be only until June. So yeah.
Okay.
So all the bonus points are still there. Everything's still there. It's just 180 points now.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. So what has changed in your life in the new year?
So in the new year, you know what's changed.
Am I allowed to ask that?
No, that's fine. Look, I have taken on a role with an employer, and I am actually helping them set up the immigration department. So they've previously outsourced, and so it's actually very interesting being on the other side and working with the recruiters and working with the employers. The company I'm working for is on a massive recruitment drive. And we are looking like we've got a huge number coming in. They do favor the South Africans. They like the South Africans, and especially in the industry that I'm working in. I'm not going to say which employer right
Fully
now, but it's not difficult. It's not difficult to find it anyway. But they're on a huge drive to recruit, to get in the skilled labor to upgrade the network. Okay. So and we are bringing a lot of South Africans, definitely. Yeah. So I will be posting a lot of roles, because the recruiters are saying, please share this on your LinkedIn profile. We need to attract the right skills and the right people coming in. So that's what we will be doing. So keep an eye out on that.
I'll just steal that jobs from you and post them on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. So just to let you know, mechanical engineers, civil engineers, lots of rail, lots of roles, various roles coming through. Yeah.
You nearly gave it away there.
Nearly. It's all good. It's not hard to find, as I said, but I am still working with ATNZ as well. So I'm doing 2 jobs. Yes, right. burning the candle at both ends. But I'm here to support people from the ATNZ side, and then obviously my employer as well. And it's very interesting work, very exciting work. I'll be working across sector agreements and so on as well. And that's going to be the interesting part, because my knowledge is going to grow a hell of a lot to know exactly how the sector agreements work and how those pathways are going to work and so on for those people. Yeah.
I'm really glad you're moving down this lane, because I mean, you've always been a massive help for us. And going forward, I can just see that you are going to be a better help for us in the long run. So,
yeah, and I'll tell you what, sometimes I do, like I've always said, some people get preferential treatment over, others, especially, with visa processing and so on. And yes, that's true. I can see that. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
congrats on the new role from everybody that's listening this morning. So congratulations.
Yeah, but just remember, I'm still an advisor. I enjoy, I love what I do. I enjoy what I do as well. I just needed to expand my skills and my skill set, and that's why I've done that. I've not gone, oh, my business is shutting down and whatever else, and we're doing so poorly. I haven't. That's not the case. I just needed to expand what I know.
So, are we going to see you on television soon?
No, I'm not supposed to do anything media related. No, no.
All right. So we'll still have
Yeah.
your face exclusive on this channel then.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, but definitely we'll be
uh,
posting a lot of roles, Jan.
no, Vanita,
Yeah,
thanks a lot. Time has come
no
and gone
problem.
for us, so I think it's time
Thank
for
you.
us to say goodbye.
Yep.
All right, Vanita, thanks a lot for your time this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, I'll just pop you out and then I'll speak to you a bit later.
Okay.
Guys, that was Vanita in a new role, which we can't say which the employer is, but we'll keep your eyes and we'll post a lot of those jobs coming up. We wish her the best there. This is us for this morning. Same place, same time next week. All right, see you all. Bye.